Hi, I'm Em, and this is the Ewe Up vlog. Hello, welcome or welcome back. It's been a little while since I last chatted with you all. Life has been super busy. My work closed for winter holidays, and then when we reopened it was intense. And then on top of that, I was working on editing a design process video for the brise shawl, which I had kind of hinted at, well, not hinted at, I told you guys I was working on it in my last podcast episode, but I'm missing a bunch of footage and I have no idea where it could have ended up. Checked the recently deleted folder, checked hidden, checked everything. I can't find it. So we might need to skip that one this time, but then the next time I start designing a new project, I'll make sure that I bring you along, and I'll probably edit as I go to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But anyway, that's kind of a brief reason for the long interlude. It was kind of nice to take a break too, especially when we had family and friends around, so I wasn't super stressed out about getting any filming done or anything like that. But it does mean that I have quite a few things to share with you all. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to go in chronological order just to keep things organized in my brain so I don't miss one. We will be talking about this, I promise. It's third in line. So you guys know, you've seen in the podcast episodes, you've seen on Instagram, I have been knitting a ton of Simple Things shawls. They're like a Sophie shawl dupe, I guess, except free pattern. So super awesome. Highly recommend checking it out. But I was knitting a ton of them, and I kind of posed it as just like, oh, I'm really enjoying using up my scraps and making these shawls. They were gifts. They were gift knits, and I was just trying to be chill about it, but also show you what I was working on. So my first FO, I don't have with me. It has been gifted. I'll try to insert a photo or something for you so you can see. But it was a pink Simple Thing shawl. And I used this as my main color. It is Most Ardently on Sport Weight from the Red Pansy. And then I paired it with a soft pink Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. I think it's called Poppy Rose. So my partner actually picked that one and it went beautifully. And yeah, that was a gift. So don't have it anymore, and stupidly didn't take any pictures of the final thing. I took a couple of videos with it in the video for Instagram, but no actual photos. So hopefully I can grab a clear enough screenshot to show you the kind of finished thing. But yeah, so that was the yarn. Really nice. It turned out super plump and plush. Absolutely loved it. I think I will be taking a break from the Simple Thing for a little while because I don't need more scarves. And you know, it's a beautiful, simple pattern, but also I have other things that I would like to do. So there's that. The next FO I also don't have in my possession because, again, it was a gift knit. And podcast listeners from the very, very start, you will know this. It is the Sea of Dreams baby blanket. Again, I'll try to insert some photos or clips or whatever I'm able to put in there. And I knit this, I started this back in 2024. Let me double check. I started it January 7th, 2024. We were gaining a new member of the family, our first little nephew. He was due later that spring, and he arrived early. So I was not finished with it, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Now I can just take my time, not rush it. So I was still like pretty steadily working on it. It didn't look like it because it takes forever to grow because it's so wide and the lace is quite complex. But I was just slowly working away on it, and then I messed up, like really bad, and I couldn't figure out where the actual mistake was. I think I had made mistakes for like the past 3 lace rows or something like that. So I had to take it apart, and it was so heartbreaking and so stressful because I didn't want to make it worse. So I put it aside. I said, you know what? I'm not putting negative feelings into this project. I'm just going to give it a break, and it can sit for a minute. Unfortunately, that break went on a little longer than planned, and in the interim, our niece was born, little sister to our nephew. So this year I was like, okay, pedal to the metal. We got to just get it done because this is like shameful at this point. So I really worked hard on it. I thought, you know what, Christmas is a great deadline, good excuse to like wrap it up and present it and everything. So just really worked hard on it. I had some long nights working away on it. I wanted to make it longer by probably another 20 to 30 inches, but I just did as much as I could in the time frame, and it's still like a good size blanket. Like it's actually pretty decently big. But yeah, and the only modification that I made to the actual pattern is I just made it wider, because again, I just wanted to have a slightly bigger blanket so it could grow with the kids throughout the years and be used for different things as well. And to be honest, I am so proud of this one. It turned out so beautifully, and even though it took me forever, like I finished it December 19th, 2025, so quite a while, almost 2 years. But even though it took quite a while, and I'm sad that I wasn't able to get it done in a more timely fashion, I'm so proud of the work that I did with it, and I think it turned out really beautifully. So, lesson learned though, for baby blankets in the future, I am not doing light fingering lace. That's just not happening. I would totally make this pattern again, but on a bigger gauge for sure, because it's just a lot, and it's a lot of time to commit to as well, especially when, you know, I'm trying to build my designing career. I'm trying to knit things for myself and for gifts and everything. So it's a big commitment. So yeah, no more light fingering baby blankets. Like DK or worsted only from now on. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I would really recommend the pattern as well. It's got written and charted instructions, so no matter what your preference is, you're solid. Okay, now we can talk about this. This is the Clatus sweater, and I have previously knit one. I knit a green one, and I had a bunch of this Kid Merino by Crystal Palace Yarns left over from other things. I had I think 2 years ago again, I had tried to knit a lacy red mohair cardigan for like the holiday season, and I decided that I would modify it from the jump, and it wasn't working, so I kind of scrapped that idea. So I had a bunch of this yarn. It was yarn that I had thrifted. The yarn has been discontinued, unfortunately, but the strand is slightly thicker than you would get from a traditional like silk mohair, lace mohair, and it's got some merino in it to give it a little bit more structure as well. So I held it double for this, and I was on a red kick because I had knit the hood for my friend, and then I had knit a Simple Thing shawl as a gift knit for a family member, and I was feeling the vibes. It was going, so I decided I would make one. And again, because I am insane, I decided that I would try to do it for Christmas so I could wear it to holiday parties. that didn't happen, but I got pretty close. I think I finished it December 29th, so like not too far off, pretty okay with that. I had to like take apart the button band a couple of times because it just was wonky, and then I thought I was running out of yarn, but then I found more yarn, so it was like a whole thing. But still, I got it done relatively quickly. I'm pretty proud of that. That's good progress, especially with all the other projects that I was working on at the same time. And I love it. It turned out exactly how I was imagining it. It's definitely a closer, slimmer fit than my other clematis sweater, which, side note, neither of these are to gauge. I'm like almost 100% sure. I didn't measure my gauge, and I didn't gauge swatch for either of them. So this is purely based on like just visually how they appear. So neither of them are to gauge, which means they fit very differently, but I love both of them. And this one, I know this is going to become a wardrobe staple, especially like during the winter when you want that pop of color. I just feel like this is perfect. It'll also work for, you know, fall and spring because it is warm, but it's still really lightweight. So I feel like it'll be fairly versatile for that. And yeah, I just love it so much. I found these buttons at a little boutique and they match perfectly. I didn't take any yarn in, any photos in with me. I just went in, I saw them, I picked them up. They're a perfect match. They are perfect. I could not be happier. There's really not much more to say than that, but I do love the final outcome, and I feel like I'll be making more clematis sweaters in the future as well because it's just such a fun pattern with the asymmetrical button band. It just, you know, zhuzhes it up. It makes it a little extra special, even though it's like just a simple drop shoulder cardigan. So yeah, and then speaking of my other clematis, I actually, it's not really an FO, but I fixed it. So I'll try to put some photos up while I'm talking through this. When I first finished it, great, fit nice. The neckline was just a tad wide, but honestly, that's just like me wanting to layer it with specific items and just being able to see a little bit of fabric from the layer underneath. But with wear, that neckline just kept stretching and stretching and stretching. It almost became a boat neck. And I have no problem with boat necks when they're intended as boat necks. This was not intended as a boat neck, and as a result, I wasn't wearing it. So what I did when I was finishing up my red clematis is I went back, took out the collar, and I picked up far fewer stitches this time because it's going to stretch a little bit with wear because you have to pull it over your head. So I picked up quite a few stitches less than the first time, and now it fits kind of more like this one, which is perfect. And you know, it's not my cleanest pickup, like you'll see here. Hopefully that focuses. You can see there's some holes left behind from where the previous one was. Honestly, I'm not fussed. I am not fussed. The next time this gets washed, it should like up. Oh, that was probably a really bad noise. I apologize. But yeah, it fits so much better now for my personal taste, and I know I'm going to be wearing it a lot more as well. So I think both of these have a distinct place in my wardrobe, and I just love it. I love it. Can't get enough. Definitely more of these in the future. I think I did both of these as size 2 also, just as a comparison for like fit with different gauges. So you can check out my Ravelry pages to see, you know, more photos so you can get an idea of the fit. Next FO, I also do not have in my possession. It was another gift. I was on a gift knitting kick this year, or at least finishing gift knits, because the knit that I'm going to be talking about, and of course that baby blanket, they've been in the works for quite a while. So a few years ago, like I think 2, maybe even 3 years ago, I gift knit a Paloma sweater, and I loved working it up. It was a surprise, so I couldn't get the recipient to try it on. And, you know, I was asking people like, I don't know, it just seems like big. I don't know if this is gonna be right. And everyone was like, no, it looks good. Like, should be a good size. And I was like, okay, it's a good size. Got it finished, delivered it. Oh my God, it was not a good size. It was massive. So part of that is, I think my gauge was too loose just to begin with right off the bat. And secondly, when it blocked out, it grew. It grew so much. So yeah, the recipient was very lovely, said she loved it, wore it a couple of times, but I knew it wasn't right. So it took me like 2 years of convincing her to let me reknit it, and she finally gave in. So I got a chance to redeem myself and reknit the Paloma sweater, and oh my gosh, this time spot on. My gauge was lovely, the fit was great, and I could just tell that this is going to be a special piece for as long as it lasts. So I used the same yarn as the original, which was the Fiber Company Meadow in Nightshade, which is a light fingering, and I think it's merino, baby llama, silk and linen, I think. And then I paired that with Theresia Natura Berenice, which is their silk mohair, and that was in the color Crépuscule. And it creates this really subtle but still dynamic marl and just a beautiful little fuzz, and it's going to soften with wear because of that linen content, while still maintaining the structure from the merino and the silk. So it was beautiful. I loved knitting it. I kind of want to get my own, but I got an email from the Fiber Company. Are they closing down? If they are, I might need to stock up because I love this yarn. I absolutely love it. I want to make myself a sweater. I almost thought about stealing this one back and keeping it for myself. Of course, I would never, but I was very tempted because beautiful. So yeah, used the same yarns, used almost exactly the same yardage. I think maybe like an extra 10 grams of the light fingering, and then I did have to buy an extra ball of Berenice, and I think I only used like a third of that ball, so pretty close to the same yardage. And it just, yeah, in blocking it, it gained about an inch everywhere, which is what I was aiming for. So it just came out totally perfect. Very proud of it. And I'm really glad that I got the chance to remake this so that the recipient has a very special and bespoke piece that they actually enjoy wearing. The only modifications that I made to the pattern was shortening the neck. The pattern calls for a 4-inch collar, and I did 3-inch. And then I added extra short rows at the back before I did the ribbing on the bottom, the hem. And that's because my Paloma that I knit for myself out of pigment and ply years and years ago, I find that as soon as I start moving around with it, that back kind of rides up. And so so if this is the back, this is the front, it kind of ends up sitting like that. So I wanted to counteract that. So I added in a couple of short rows. Definitely did the job. I think I could have even done a couple more, but really happy with that decision. It just looked very even. So highly recommend, if you find that, sweaters shift while you're moving, think about adding some short rows right before the hem. I just added it to the back, and just made everything flow and sit really nicely. Yeah, so that's kind of all I have to say on that. I'm just really happy with how it turned out. Loved the yarn combo. Would knit again for sure. Now we can talk about whips. And I have a few because I have no self-control and I just keep casting more things on. I am trying to work slightly more monogamously, like have at max like 3 projects on the go. I have a few more than that, but some of those are designs. So they're kind of, sometimes I work on them, sometimes I don't, sometimes I just need to work out, you know, anyway. They're not necessarily all active, but I have currently 3 very active whips, so we're gonna go through those. Okay, so if you tuned in for the last podcast episode, you would know about this project. This is, oh my gosh, let me see how I can hold this so it makes sense. This is the Theresia cardigan, and I am knitting it in Pigment and Ply 7525, I think, in the color Fenweed, which is from her Witcher collection years and years ago. I've been holding on to, I have 3 skeins of this blue. I've been holding on to it until I got the correct spark, like the fitting spark, the spark in my brain that made me go, yes, this is the project, you know? And then, I don't know, this past year, 2025, it just hit me like, I think I'd want a cardigan. I think a cardigan would be super, super cute. So, found a pattern. I love the cabling that goes down the front here. And it's got a, I hope that shows it. It's got like a, I think this is a European shoulder construction, which is new for me. That's a new attempt, and I really enjoyed it. So might use that in future designs, who knows? But yeah, it's just been very pleasant to knit on. Now that I'm done all of the arm and body increases, it's just working down the body, which is super, super easy. It's not, like the cable is not hard to memorize, and just lovely. So I am modifying this just a little. First off, I am quite clearly not using a fluff with it. The pattern does call for mohair. I didn't want to buy more yarn for this, so just making it with the fingering yarn. I know I've worked with Pigment and Ply 7525 quite a bit, so I know it'll plump up a little bit, and so I'm not concerned about that. Didn't gauge swatch again, just went for it. That is my go-to. No need to be shocked by it anymore. It's gonna happen again. And then the only other thing that I'm modifying is the button band. And specifically, I am adding a button band. The original pattern just calls for loops that you can put a button through, and then there's like a little bit of exposed torso in between the 2 sides. I wanted this to be a little bit more versatile of a piece, so I am going to add a button band. I'm not totally sure yet if I want to do like a double knit button band so that I'm not distracting from the cables, or if I should do a ribbed button band because there is ribbing for the collar. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll see how I'm feeling. I might test out a couple of different ones. We'll see. But yeah, that's basically the only modifications that I am making to this. And that means I need buttons. So when I started this project, I was like, I know where I should get buttons from. For this clematis here, the green one, I ordered these beautiful buttons from Pigeon Wish's shop. They're based in the UK, and these buttons are all handmade. And I just loved these ones. I can't can't remember what colorway these were, but they have just such great colors, but then the like tortoise effect just makes it a little bit more of a statement while still being super cohesive. So when I decided that I was going to knit a button band for the Theresia cardigan, I went straight to Pigeon Wish's shop and I found the perfect colorway. I knew it in my bones that it was going to be perfect. And unfortunately they were sold out. They only had like really big buttons, and I wanted pretty like smaller ones, like the size on that cardigan I just showed you, or a little bit smaller. So I just reached out to them and I was like, hey, just wondering if you're gonna be doing a shop update with this colorway anytime soon. Like, just let me know because I will be waiting. And they very kindly offered to send me a set of buttons, which I'm like, it's astounding to me. I have a good healthy dose of imposter syndrome, so anytime I get to connect with other creators and makers and small businesses and they want to collaborate or they offer to send me something, I'm like, me? Are you sure? But it was so sweet. I said, absolutely, I would love that. Because amazing quality buttons, and again, just really good colorways. So they sent it to me as soon as they made some more. And I was very surprised to see when I opened up the package that they had sent me two sets. So one is, I think these are 10 millimeter. And then I think these ones are 5 millimeter. I was not expecting two. I like actually teared up. Oh, that's probably really loud. I'm gonna put that one down. I actually teared up when I saw this, and there was a lovely little note, and it just made my heart full. Also, as suspected, perfect match. You can see it, I made a little reel with them and the Theresia cardigan, so you can see how they work together. It's over on Instagram. Perfect. It's gonna be perfect. Currently I'm leaning towards the smaller buttons, but once I decide what kind of button band I want, I'll kind of place both of them on there, I think, and before I make the buttonhole side, I will make a final decision there. But yes, so that was a really bright spot in my month. It's so, I love the creative community. Everybody is so sweet and encouraging and generous. I love it. I'm so happy to be part of this community. So Theresia cardigan, it's got little sleeve caps now. I've split for sleeves, which is new since we last caught up. And I've just been working away on it. I am not alternating skeins. Even though this is hand dyed, Jess's skeins tend to be very evenly dyed. I'm not really worried about color pooling. There is a slight variegation in this. I'm not even sure if it'll show up on camera, but there is a little subtle striping of darker and lighter blue in there. I like that. So I'm not worried about it. So I am just going to maybe stop moving my arms around. I'm just gonna finish the ball that I'm on for the body, and then I'm gonna actually do the sleeves so I can see how the sleeves affect the fit of the cardigan before I finish up with the length. So sleeves will be next. For now, it's just knitting. It's great. After you do all the increases, the only like tricky part of this is the cabling, but it is super easy to memorize, super simple. So it's pretty much mindless knitting for the most part. And yeah, just really enjoying it. Looking forward to adding it to my closet. Okay, so I know I just finished a baby blanket, and I know it took me forever. I had previously promised a close friend of mine a baby blanket for her first. And again, baby's almost a year old now, but that's okay. We're actually going to visit them in March, so it kind of works out time-wise, so I don't have to ship it to them because I think it would be pretty expensive. But I was originally going to use this cone. This is British Wool 4-ply from Woolly Knit. This was not quite the color I was expecting. It's really hard when you order online, so I was kind of just taking a stab in the dark. This is a little bit darker green than they had in mind for like their baby colors for the nursery. So then I thought, well, I have a bunch of this leftover cream that I used for the Sea of Dreams blanket. I have a whole other cone of this, so it's not just this. So I was like, maybe I'll marl these two together. It'll kind of tone down the green. Messaged my friend, sent her a photo. She was like, great, sounds good. Started knitting a blanket. Absolutely hated it. Loathed it with my entire being. The marling was not it. No matter what stitch pattern I tried, I hated it. I just hated it. So I gave up on that. But I did need a blanket pattern, and I thought, hey, I have a bunch of colors that kind of line up with their baby colors. Why don't I do a sweet shop blanket? So here it is. This is as far as I've gotten right now. I'm hoping, I seem to be using less yarn than I initially accounted for, which is awesome because that means I can hopefully make the blanket a little bit bigger, which is always a good idea. It's worked up in DK, so it's been moving pretty quickly. This is addicting to work on. It's modular, so you just add one square at a time, you can see here. And it's worked through short rows and decreases. And it is so fun to see these little triangles of color work up, and then during the cream triangles, I'm like, I gotta get to the next color. So it's moving pretty quick. Really obsessed. We'll definitely be saving up some scraps to make one for my partner and I. I already have a bunch of pink scraps, so it's gonna be like pink and cream probably. But yeah, just felt like this was the right call, and honestly, I think it is. I'm loving the colors here. There's one more color. Yeah, I have a navy that I'm gonna throw in there as well, just to add some pizzazz, but really loving it so far. And yeah, I think that's the big thing, is I don't want to knit things, especially if they're gifts. I don't want to knit something that I hate working on, because I feel like I'm imbuing that energy into the project, and I don't want that. I want projects to be born out of love and generosity and like enthusiasm, you know? I want good vibes going into all these projects. So ultimately, I think this was the right call. I hope they're okay with the colors. I'm pretty stoked on them. I think it is a little bit brighter than they have in their nursery, but it can be a statement piece, right? Yeah, just really liking it. And now I've got the bug. Laura Penrose, you genius. I have got the modular bug. So maybe this will finally be the kick to get me to cast on the Stella quilt cushion that I've been talking about for like a year straight now that I still haven't cast on. I think that'll be next in line after this, for sure, because I'm loving it. Super simple too, and it's great, especially if you're not on a deadline and you are just using scraps. Great project. Like, can't say enough. It feels really good. You get to show off the yarn. You can hold yarn together for it. You can use one single strand. You can see in mine, folded it all up. Now I have to unfold it, but mine, like this bright green, is quite a bit thinner than this. Technically both DK weights, but I have some different weights going on here. I gave it a quick little steam block, but when I do a full block, it'll work out just fine. So really versatile, just be aware of your tension throughout it to try and get that to match. But yeah, super stoked. And I definitely see more modular knitting in my future. I have one more whip to share with you, one more active whip, and then a couple of little acquisitions. So with all of that gift knitting out of the way, I was like, okay, this is the time for me to hone in on this other baby blanket and my blue cardigan, get those done, get some pattern designing done. Boom. That didn't happen because I was struck with inspiration. I make it sound so dramatic, but a designer that I follow on Instagram was releasing a new cardigan pattern, the Maisy cardigan, which it's what dreams are made of. I saw it and like breathless. I was breathless. I was seized with how beautiful this cardigan is. And truly I was like, as I am knitting that, I will be making this. So I bought the pattern during the first week of its release, and as soon as I had it in my possession, I was like, actually, I know what I'm going to use for this, and I know when I want it, and I want it now. So because my green woolly knits combs were not being used for a baby blanket, I cast on with these. I'm holding it double, and actually the designer used the woolly knit merino 4-ply, which is this one. She used that for one of her samples held double. So I was like, it'll work no problem for this. Did not gauge swatch. Again, this is a habit of mine, okay? Like, it's probably never gonna happen. The only times I really measure gauge is when I'm designing, because I know other people need to know that information. I wing it every single time. So yeah, I thought this is perfect. It's great. I have a vision. And so I cast on. I cast on, even though I have so many other things that need to be done. And I'm not gonna lie, it was tricky. It was tricky to start. It's primarily charted, and I'm not super good at reading charts. But I printed out the little like symbol legend, and I had that on a piece of paper, and then I had the pattern on my iPad, and I was like able to just check between them instead of like endlessly scrolling up and down and up and down. And I got the hang of it. I think I know all of the symbols off by heart now, which is awesome. And this is it. Doesn't really look like much right now. But you can see the cables are starting to take place. I'm doing the raglan increases. Yeah, just slowly working away on it. It does require quite a bit of my attention, so I don't mess up. So it's not like a movie knitting project. And it's not going to be a travel project either, because look at these honkin' things. These are massive. They're 500 grams each. So yeah, this is an at-home project, but I'm loving it so far. Like, it's just, I'm so excited. And I'm getting impatient though, because I just want it to grow, because I want to wear it. But it's very clearly written. The charts are really well made. I'm just not good at reading in a straight line. So that's where my issues come from, where I'm just kind of like accidentally jumping up to an incorrect chart row, which is a me problem, not a pattern problem. And doing it on my iPad means I can like highlight where I'm working on to help me out with that. But yeah, I'm obsessed, and couldn't be happier with how it's turning out so far. Can't wait to see once we actually get some like length on it, and I'm able to kind of drape it and see how it's looking. The Woolly Knit British 4-ply is a, I would say that's a light fingering, and 100% British wool. It is a little bit rustic, and you can see here there's like little extra bits every now and then. It's still really soft. Like, I would say this is softer than Derrière Nature Gilead, which I know is super popular amongst knitters. So I would say this is not as rustic as Gilead. But it you know, it is still a little bit scratchy, but I think it's gonna bloom so beautifully. And I probably just won't be wearing this next to skin, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'll just wear it over a tank top or a t-shirt if I do want to have it like fully buttoned up. Oh, that was the wrong side. This is the right side. Yeah, just super stoked on it. I love that I'm challenging myself. I went from complicated lace in 2024, 2025 into complicated cabling for 2026. I also accidentally, 2026 is the year of the cardigan. I got my clematis. Technically, this wears more as a pullover for me. Like this one I'm probably never gonna unbutton. I do unbutton the green one, but it is a cardigan. It has a button placket, it opens. So we've got the clematis sweater, the Theresia cardigan, the Maisy cardigan, and then, oh, there was another cardigan that I saved recently, and I'm just blanking on the name, but I have another one in my saves that I would love to get to. So I love it. I love a theme. It's great that we accidentally stumbled on one. I'm having a great time. And yeah, it's a good challenge. It's a good way for me to get used to certain techniques and reading charts, because again, I am highly motivated to knit this because I really want the finished object. So I won't be easily deterred. And that means that I will learn and become adept at all of these new skills a lot faster, which is always a good thing. So yeah, it was impromptu, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That's it for active whips right now. I do have a couple of little nitty bits that I've acquired that I thought I could just share. So first thing is, I was given a set of knitting cables, or barber cord, or whatever they're called, which are fantastic. I've been eyeing them up for quite a while, but they are pricey when you get them from yarn stores, and I do not shop from Amazon. So I was just kind of putting it off and just making do with scrap yarn and just like threading it on there. But these are great because they're hollow, so you can actually just stick it on the tip of your needle and then just pull. It's awesome. Love it. The one thing, my one issue with this, it smells so bad. It is such a strong plasticky rubbery scent. I really don't like that. But the usefulness outweighs the scent, so I am still using these quite frequently. But if anybody has tips on how to get rid of that really, really strong rubber smell, hit up those comments. I want to know. I will do pretty much anything. I'm just worried about wrecking them. So if you have a tried and tested method, put that in the comments, because it's bad. It's bad. So I think I was kind of a snobby knitter for a while, and not snobby in the everything has to be super high quality kind of way, but snobby in the why do you need needle stoppers? It's just one more thing to buy. Why do you need cable needles? Just use a straight needle or a spare circular needle for cabling. I was gifted some needle stoppers. They're awesome. I was wrong. And now that I'm doing so much cabling, I got some cable needles. It came as a set of 2. I regret to say they're really useful. They just don't get in the way. These ones are quite slippery. They're metal, so they are quite slippery, so I'm getting used to not losing my stitches off of the cable needle, which might just be the way that I knit as well. But yeah, I see why they're necessary. Yeah, that was just me being snobby about things, I think. These are very useful, very glad to have them now. And especially I'm loving working on cabled projects, so I can see myself knitting a lot more in the future. So I know these are gonna get a lot of work in them or out of them. And yeah, I can admit I was wrong. I'm wrong about things sometimes, and that's why it's so important to try things anyway. Even if you end up being wrong. These were like $9 for a set of 2. If I hated them, that's nine Canadian dollars that I'm wasting. If I ended up not liking them, that's nothing in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, try out the tools, see if they work for you. That's my takeaway. Okay, I have one more acquisition. It's actually not knitting related, but it is crafty. I ordered a Sashiko kit. Sashiko is a form of Japanese visible mending where you add in like embroidery designs. And I've done some Sashiko in the past, just like not properly. I wasn't following a tutorial. I wasn't using the correct thread or needles, but I just needed to mend some holes. And I thought, hey, I like the look of this. So I'll try to put a picture in if I still have access to it. Turned out really well. So I'm like, you know what? I got more stuff to mend. I'm gonna try some more Sashiko. And over the winter holidays, I picked up some jeans of my partner's that needed mending that I had been putting off for like 2 years. There's a theme here, isn't there? Everything is like over a 2-year span. Something to think about. Anyway, picked them up, tried doing it. Oh my God, what a nightmare. My thread kept breaking, my needle was too dull, so I had to like really push it in there, which means often I ended up like sticking myself with the needle. It was just a nightmare. So I just gave in. I said, if I'm gonna do it, I should do it properly. So I ordered this little kit from a shop here in Canada. Can't remember what it's called. Like maybe Ewe? Side note. That's the store. It's right on the package. Right on the package. How did I miss that? But yeah, so that's the store. Crazy. It's located on Granville Island, and it came with some thread. It's got ooh, I'm gonna stop moving it around too much. It's got thread, it's got needles, it's got a little instruction booklet, and I think it even has little templates or like paper that you can trace templates onto. So now I can just do it right. And I actually have quite a few things that need mending. So I will probably need to buy more colors of thread in the future, but for now, everything is kind of either like in a blue tone or a light color. So I think this will be fine. But yeah, just decided to do it properly. And now I can finish mending my partner's jeans, which are his favorite pair of jeans. So I feel really bad for not fixing them for 2 years. I'll keep you abreast, probably more so on Instagram, but I'll keep you updated on how the Sashiko goes. Hopefully I can get good enough to do some like cute little designs and stuff. We are in the new year now. Everybody's doing their, you know, everything I made in 2025 videos, their goals for 2026. That feels like a lot to me, but I will share a couple of pretty broad goals that I've set for myself. One is in relation to pattern designs. Last year, 2025, I managed to publish 3. So my aim is to get another 3 out this year. Fingers crossed. I'd be happy even with 2, but the aim is 3. And then just another really broad goal. I don't want to add to my stash too much. My stash is overflowing and I can't knit fast enough to keep up with it. So I've set kind of a rule for myself where I'm only allowed to add to my stash for special occasions. So for example, I'm going to be doing some traveling this year. I like to pick up a little bit of yarn from new places that I travel to. So I'll allow myself to get some yarn there. And then if I were to go to another knitting festival this year, I will allow myself to buy a bit of yarn there. I'm going to put a limit on it because I can go ham really easily when I'm surrounded by pretty things. But I will allow myself to get some there. And like gift knitting doesn't count. If I need to buy yarn to knit a gift, it doesn't count. It's getting used right away. It's not going into stash. But yeah, I want to actually make a dent in my stash. I have so much pretty yarn and there's so many things that I want to knit with it. I just physically cannot knit fast enough. And I just don't have as many hours in the day available to knit. So yeah, I would just love to kind of stay mostly stash neutral in terms of acquisitions. And then my last kind of goal is to just be more consistent on social media and sharing things. So more consistent here on YouTube and more consistent on Instagram. And even if that means that I'm doing like fewer videos in the year on YouTube, but they're consistently getting out there, I'm gonna call that a win. Because practice makes perfect and you gotta, just get into a habit of doing it. So that would be good. And then I really need to figure out what the Instagram algorithm wants from me. I heard in 2025 that what will get your stuff out there more is consistent posting, reels, and using music on your posts. I've been doing all of that. I have been trying really hard to stick to a posting schedule, use music, make those reels. I'm not seeing any difference in like my views or likes. And it's not that I'm like hungry. It's just like I would like to figure it out so that I'm showing up in people's feeds. Instagram is my main social media platform. And it is the main way that I get news out about test knits, about new patterns, about, like connecting with knitters all around the world. I have so many DMs going with people that I've met, people that I've never met in real life, but that I adore dearly, that kind of thing. And for the amount that I'm using it, I'm surprised that is just not, my posts just aren't getting seen. So if anybody has tips, put them in the comments. But yeah, I'd just like it to show up in more people's feeds, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of the goal. We'll see if it happens. Maybe the Instagram algorithm is just fully messed up and there's no hope. But I still enjoy sharing project updates. I still enjoy, sharing photos of my designs. So I will be using Instagram still. But yeah, so just some like broad kind of overarching goals for this year. I'm not going to be too prescriptive with what I'm knitting. Just really going to let myself follow the joy, follow the inspiration like I did with the Maisy cardigan. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully it can be a productive but also like soul nurturing year in terms of knitting. So that brings us to the end of this episode. I really enjoyed catching up with you all. Hopefully there won't be as long of a lag in between this video and the next one. If you have ideas for content that you'd like to see with me, pop them in the comments. Hit me up in my DMs on Instagram. I'm always open to suggestions. But yeah, super fun to just have a proper catch up, show you everything that I've finished recently. It was like a good end of the year. And yeah, looking forward to a new year of knits. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and hitting that subscribe button. I really appreciate all of you who are following along in this endeavor, in this journey, and all of my knitting progress. And I love connecting with you, so comments are always open. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next one. Happy knitting, and I'll see you next time.